Greetings, everybody. So, people have asked me, like, for like a list of the mods and things like that, can the MT-10 be a good, basic sports tour, heavily, leaning on the sports side? And the reality is yes. So there's a list of mods that I've done here that makes it actually pretty damn good for that. So the first is going to be wind deflection. Maybe not as much problem in the summertime, but in the cold weather, you're definitely going to want that. Helps keep some of the rain off you if you're going at interstate speeds, and it definitely makes a difference. So I got the one from Puig. It's a direct bolt-on. You get it from Amazon or Revzilla or whatever, and it's just 4 bolts, just like the stock one, and pop it on. Next, I've done a video on this, but I've added the Oxford heated grips, which you can buy the replacement grips, so you don't have to spend $150 on the whole modules and controllers. All you need to do is buy the $17 grip, the $21 replacement grip, and then a 2-pack, which is $10 of the connectors to plug into the Yamaha wiring harness, which is underneath. You take off this, then you take off that metal bracket you see there, and then there's that plastic cover, and that just pops out, and the wires, the plugs are right there. Just plug it in, and then your dashboard controls the heated grips. So that way, again, in the cold, you got your heated grips. This bike also came with cruise control, so already that's in its favor for sport touring duty. What I've done then, since then, of course, I've got the Nitron R3 shock, Race Tech springs and fork oil up front, frame protectors, things like that. Much better tires, so sport touring tires. However, these tires are good enough for a novice to intermediate day, track day pace. These are the Michelin Road 6s. Excellent for super grip, a lot of confidence. You can really rip it up on them while also getting a lot of mileage out of them. So great sport touring tire. And then for luggage, we got a couple options. So I got the OGIO quick disconnect. It basically uses a ram mount. They worked with ram mounts to come up with this setup. So I've got a little 4-liter bag that's out on the ZX14, which is just big enough for like a small bottle of water and some, things like that. But then when you're going to go on a trip, maybe you want a little bit more luggage up here to supplement what we're going to talk about in a minute on the back. So it's got these clips, and I'm trying to do this one-handed because I'm holding the camera. But that just clicks right in, and now you put your phone right there so that you'd be able to see, navigation stuff. It'd be right in front of your face, so you're not having to really look away from the road. It's like right there. Yeah, so that's pretty good. So it's waterproof, quick disconnects. If you got things that you want to charge inside, MT-10, the new ones come with 12-volt power source. So you get your little USB adapter that goes in and gives you like 2 fast-forging USB charts, and then just run your cable right through that hole and charge your phone, charge your camera, charge your GPS, whatever it is you got in there that needs charging while you ride down the road. So that gives you a little bit of luggage. But then on the back, it's going to come down to, how much you're going, how much you need, because how long are you going for and stuff. So I've got 2 options. I have this big BMW Motorrad bag, and I know it says BMW on a Yamaha. Heresy, sacrilege, I know. But they're really good bags. What I like about them is, A, they expand, they're waterproof, they got good carry handles. The bottom here is all rubber, and it's very rigid. It doesn't want to flex this way. And that's a big problem. When you just take a duffel bag, this one's narrow, so you don't see it as much, but when they're wide, they'll basically droop, because you strap them down, you pull them tight. It's usually from the corners, and it pulls the edge of the bag down to where it's now rubbing on the paint and stuff. Now on this one, I don't really have any paint here. It's just the black, matte black. But on something like that, it would be rubbing on the tail. So what these are is they've got a sleeve right there that slips under the back seat and kind of holds it from going any more forward. And then you've got some straps that are inside there. And again, one-handed, I can't really show you that. And you basically just loop them through here, and then it's got a snap. And then you click it, cinch it down. Run one from here, click it, cinch it down. You do that from both sides, and now you've got this 30-liter. And right now it's popped open, but you can extend it, or I can retract it if I want to just make it just that little bit smaller. And I've got a nice waterproof bag for, I could throw a couple days worth of clothes and my MacBook and throw the chargers and stuff up in the front. And I go away easily for a weekend by myself. If I'm going on a longer trip, or I'm being the pack mule for my wife and I, then I can go with the bigger bag, which opens up to 55 or 60 liters. And again, that would slide on. Of course, there's nothing in it to hold its shape right now. As soon as you load it up, it kind of puffs up. And the same thing, you run your straps, loop them through there. They got the clips, click, 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 and click. And that thing will just sit right there. And I like this setup better than having, there's some where you can have side bags and permanent mounts. Yeah, this does put the weight up high. It didn't seem to make too much difference. And I don't like having the racks and the things, the jivvy racks that you have to see, or then you got to sit there and unmount every time. I can literally ride up to the mountains, wherever it is I'm going, go to the hotel, click, 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 remove those all, and walk away with my luggage and put it in the hotel. And then all I got to do is just come out and take off the straps and throw them in the bag. There's a pouch in there for that. So that's my touring setup. We went up to the Dragon for 2.5 days, and I had to pack all my stuff for me and my wife. So that was a decent amount of stuff. I had bottles of bourbon and a bottle of Tito's for Kevin, and my MacBook chargers, all my camera stuff. And I was very easily and very comfortably able to have 3 days worth of stuff for 2 people, plus some other stuff, that I mentioned, a laptop and a couple bottles of booze for the cabin and stuff like that for at night. Snacks, Lara bars, all that stuff. And it worked great. I did it on that bike, but that's the beauty of this, is that if you do it that way, where you get one that slips on the seat and then just straps to the passenger pegs, it comes off. There's nothing permanent. I don't see anything once I'm where I'm going, I just take that stuff off. If I didn't want to drive around with this, I pull that off, put that in the cabin or the hotel room, and I'm just driving around with my sport bike. A little bit of wind deflection and heated grips if I need it. So that takes 150 horsepower naked sort of super bike that's made for carving corners and doing track days and stuff. But it gives you wind deflection and more comfort and heated grips, and it gives you the ability to very quickly carry luggage and things and do some light touring. The beauty also is because these bags, I got this one and then the little one that's over there, I can swap these back and forth. I'm going to go riding today. I'm going to take the MT-10. I just need the little bag. I don't need the big one. So I just leave that one here. If it's just me going for a trip, then I take this little guy. I don't need the big one. That's what she said. If I'm going away for longer, or I got carrying luggage for 2, then I take that one. And by not having to worry about specific jivvy mounts, which are expensive, but also look kind of ugly when you're not using the bags unless you take the time to put them on and put them off every time, I can put my luggage on this in under 45 seconds. And then if I want to go to that bike, I don't need a different mounting system because that's got, different mounting points and the tail structure is different. I just throw it, strap it to the back of that seat. But unlike the duffel bag, it doesn't rub on the paint. It's got that rigid bottom, which keeps its shape. So that's what I use. Those are not cheap. I mean, they're BMW bags because the local dealer, when I needed luggage for a trip, that's what they had over at the Hourglass Cycles was my Triumph dealer, but they were also BMW. And Kyle's like, these things are awesome. This is what I use on my adventure bikes and stuff. So I was like, all right. They're kind of pricey. The little bag was $230. I think this was $300 something, but shit works really well. They're very well made. You might be able to find other brands, but look for that type. Look for the rigid bottom that's soft and cushioned, but it's rigid underneath, so it keeps that shape. It doesn't bow and go whoa and wrap around the side and hit this or rub on the sides. You want it to keep that shape and just have it strap in place and be waterproof, and you get where you're going, you unclick it and just grab it and like a suitcase and just waltz into your hotel room. So that is my sport touring setup. As far as gear goes when I'm riding, if it's colder months or track days, I got full leather. It's a 2-piece leather suit, but I've got an Alpine Stars GPR something or another. It's like a $450 jacket with upgraded armor, and I've got the track pants. But in the summer months, what I'll be wearing is I've got the GP Plus R with upgraded back protector and the Nucleon pads and everything like that, but it does breathe. And then I got a set of pants. So this is a textile jacket with beefed up armor. It's Alpine Stars, which is great. I've got my A-Stars. I don't know what these are, SMXs or something. I got some A-Stars boots. These aren't my track boots. On track, I'll have, I think, Super Tech R's or something. They're like $500 boots. I've got a set of those. These are more like $300. I'm wearing, in the summertime, I'll wear these gloves, SPXs, again from A-Stars. I've also got a set of mesh pants that has shin and knee protection. You can open up flaps in your leg to let air in and stuff like that, or zip them up if it's a bit chilly. But they're reinforced with Kevlar, so that while they are textile riding pants, they're not an over pant. They're actually a protective pant. Not enough that they let me on track with it, but it zips up to the jacket, so it's almost like a onesie. It zips around like 80 or 90% of the way around, and it just gives you that other extra bit of protection, in case you did take a small slide. It zips up right, it matches that. And in the winter time, the gloves I'll wear is I've got these. These are A-Stars Dry Stars. So they're still a shorty glove, but they've got Thinsulate and stuff in them. They're windproof, waterproof. They've got plenty of leather and protection and padding, but they keep your hands warm. And when you couple that with the heated grips, you could be down in the 30s. Fahrenheit, obviously, not centigrade for folks across the pond. And your hands are comfortable, So that's my typical riding setup. If it's going to be cold or a track day, or if it's going to be cooler up in the mountains and I'm like, I want the extra protection, then I'll wear my full leathers. But like my normal stuff, I'm just going to be riding around town. I'm just going to go out for lunch. I'll wear jeans, but I'm still got my boots. I still got the gloves, the jacket. My helmet is, I've got a Shoei X14, and then I've got an HJC Arfa 11 Pro with the Marvel anti-venom paint scheme. So anyway, that's what I'm wearing. That's my sporty touring setup, my typical mountain day in the summertime, because I could just wear Under Armour underneath, the stuff that wicks away sweat and keeps you cool. I just wear that underneath, which is really nice when you're packing, because then you pack light. You can fold that stuff down. A pair of Under Armour like that, it's like spandex. I don't need to have multiple pairs of jeans that take up lots of space. I got t-shirts and a pair of shorts, so I have something, boxers, so I have something to wear when I'm walking around the hotel, or if we go to the restaurant downstairs, or just farting around the cabin. But if I'm out riding, I'm wearing the overpants, the textile sport pants that go with and zip up to that jacket. So all I need I don't even need boxers. I just wear the spandex, honestly. I know, sexy, right? And so I just need t-shirts, extra pairs of socks, and a couple pairs of spandex for however many days I'm going to be riding, and that's my sport touring setup. So this bike does really, really well. So does that one. That one's actually a little bit more comfortable, but I know a lot of people do like this MT-10 style, and they're like, man, it's upright, it's naked, it's fast, it's fun, it handles. But man, if I could use it, get some luggage on there, and I could go a distance or do a trip or something, I give you Exhibit A. You absolutely can. And it does it really well. And even though this isn't necessarily necessary for for that kind of setup, the suspension upgrade helps. That comfort, that being able to just soak up the bumps and have it sprung properly and not have the back sagging because you can't die, the spring, the preload isn't enough for your body weight. Getting suspension set up for you, I would consider not essential. I mean, if you're in the right weight size, that the stock springs and components work for you, great. But if you're outside of that basic envelope, upping your suspension's not just good for track days. It's not just good for ripping up in the mountains. It's kind of more essential for those things. But even just going down the road, having a more plush, controlled, compliant ride with the right ride height, because you got the right springs and the right preload, and you're keeping the geometry right where it wants to be, that makes a difference all day in the saddle. Even if you're doing a lot on the super slab, or just sweepers and back roads and stuff like that, having a nice, firm, compliant ride that's set up right, that just glides down the road, beats you up less, makes you a little bit less fatigue. Having a little bit of less wind buffeting makes you a little bit less fatigue. Some of that wind deflection, especially in the colder months, keeping you from getting too chilled, and you can stay in the saddle longer, having the heated grip. All these things add up to a really kind of what I would consider hyper sport touring. And I'd put that in the same boat, because that thing just eats up miles and eats up bumps in the road, and it's just so smooth and powerful. Really good wind deflection, because you got that big ass giant wide fairing to hide behind, keeps the wind off you. Both of these do it, and that's why I did it this way, because I can take literally everything that you see here, other than obviously the windscreen and the grips. But as far as the luggage and stuff goes, I got the same ram mount on that tank, and I just go click, click, and this just straps right to the back of that as easily as it does here, or as easily as it does here when you put the back seat on. So it's kind of universal in that, and she's got the hookup for an OGIO bag too. So when you're doing that, I know some people want to get the mounts, the hard mounts for their bike, but then you got to spend all that extra money. And then if you have multiple bikes, you got to buy multiple racks, and both of those racks have to be compatible with whatever bags you get. This eliminated all of that. Eliminated the cost, the hassle, the look, and that was just the way to go. So this took longer than I thought it would, but hopefully this helps some folks. Anyway, I'm going to go ride. Have a good one.